Agitation, an essential subject from Vinipedia. As long as one resides in the material world, one is obliged to take repeated births and deaths throughout the universe, sometimes in the upper planetary system, sometimes in the middle and lower planetary systems. One may take birth in a human form or in a demigod body, or a dog, or tree, in any of the 8,400,000 species of life. This is all due to the mind not being fixed at the lotus feet of Krishna. When one's mind is steadily fixed on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is free from agitation. Srila Prabhupada's books, lectures, conversations and letters offer a comprehensive presentation of this essential subject as seen in the Vinicote's agitation category. An introduction from his books is given below in the following 10 quotes. Quotes from Srila Prabhupada's books. A person desiring to advance in spiritual understanding should be extremely careful to avoid reading ordinary literature. The world is full of ordinary literature that creates unnecessary agitation in the mind. Such literature, including newspapers, dramas, novels and magazines, is factually not meant for advancement in spiritual knowledge. Indeed, it has been described as a place of enjoyment for crows, tadvivyasa tirtham. Anyone advancing in spiritual knowledge must reject such literature. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.13. 7. Lord Chaitanya, describing the symptoms of a person who has developed from faith to the stage of Bhava, states that such a person is never agitated even if there are causes for agitation, nor does such a person waste his time even for a moment. He is always anxious to do something for Krishna. Even if he has no engagement, he will find some work to do for Krishna's satisfaction. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Chapter 13. If one does not have full faith in our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he cannot properly chant and dance in the Sankirtana movement. Artificial chanting and dancing may be due to sentiments or sentimental agitation, but this cannot help one advance in Krishna consciousness. Chaitanya Karitam Ta, Madhya LL 11.102. At the present moment, however, everyone is engaged in technological advancement, which is described in Bhagavad Gita as Yugra Karma, extremely severe endeavor. This Yugra Karma is the cause of agitation within the human mind. Men are engaging in many sinful activities and becoming degraded by opening slaughterhouses, breweries and cigarette factories, as well as nightclubs and other establishments for sense enjoyment. In this way they are spoiling their lives. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.14. 10. All activities begin with the creation of the total energy, the Mahatattva. Then, by the agitation of the three gunas, the physical elements are created, as well as the mind, ego and the controllers of the senses. All of these are created one after another by the inconceivable energy of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam 4.17. 33. Faith inspires initial surrender, and later, by the powerful influence of saintly association, one's faith deepens and becomes steady. Once faith becomes steady, all mental agitations and doubts clear up due to constant worship of the Lord. Renunciation through Wisdom, Chapter 5.1. The process of meditating on the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within oneself and the process of chanting the glories and pastimes of the Lord are the same. The only difference is that hearing and fixing the mind on the pastimes of the Lord is easier than visualizing the form of the Lord within one's heart, because as soon as one begins to think of the Lord, especially in this age, the mind becomes disturbed, and due to so much agitation, the process of seeing the Lord within the mind is interrupted. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.28. 19. The idea is that devotional service to the Lord is the only method of cleansing the heart for good. Whereas other methods may be superficially good for the time being, there is a risk of becoming muddy again due to agitation of the mind. Devotional service to the Lord, with specific attention for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam regularly and always, is the best recommended method for liberation from the clutches of illusion. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.8. 5. If one can understand Krishna as the supreme enjoyer, the supreme proprietor of everything, and the supreme friend of everyone, one is established in peace and is free from material agitation. However, for one who cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the practice of yoga is recommended. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.15. 34. This is the process for conquering the agitation of the mind. One is recommended to take leave of his family and live alone, maintaining body and soul together by begging alms and eating only as much as needed to keep himself alive. Without such a process, one cannot conquer lusty desires. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.15. 30.